Ladies, what if you could make men bond to you so deeply during sex that they would never want to leave, just by understanding the difference in male and female brain chemistry? Now I have your attention, right? Most women assume that physical intimacy naturally bonds men to them, but that's wrong. The science says very clearly otherwise. By the end of this video, you'll know more about male bonding, more than you've ever known before. And you'll also know why women get left behind once the fun is done. I bet you're thinking that there's no one simple change that could get you more attention, devotion, and loyalty from men after sex. But what I'm about to share is based on scientific research and proven methods that actually work. And I'm going to give you the 3 most powerful ways to make a man emotionally attached to you for life. Are you ready? Welcome back to my channel, where I show you how to make love happen on your terms. If you're new here, I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist, and I help you make your relationships better. Most women have no idea how men bond, so they're doing it completely wrong. Then, after you've been intimate, the guy wanders off. He ghosts you, and you're left with a broken heart and a massive question mark over your head about how this happened. Let's fix that cycle right now, so you don't lose another chance at lasting love. I'm going to show you how to bond men to you like super glue. But first, we need to talk about what women are doing wrong that gets them left behind. This material has made online audiences furious when shared in the past, but it changes the game completely. So listen closely. There's a hormone called Vasopressin that most women have never heard of. And this is the secret to male bonding. I'll explain it in a second, but right now just be aware that if you don't activate this hormone, he may not bond to you at all. Most women have heard about oxytocin. That's because it's the love hormone, crucial for female bonding. You might know that oxytocin is released when you feel safe and relaxed with your partner. Kissing, hand-holding, making out, cuddling, sharing affection, and other intimate activities help to release it. This is why foreplay is so important for most women, because it leads to female arousal and makes orgasms much easier to achieve. And when you do orgasm, it floods you with even more oxytocin, making multiple orgasms easier to reach. Most women think oxytocin is enough to bond a man to them, because for women, it triggers deep emotional attachment. You feel close. You feel bonded. You assume he does too. But here's the scientific insight most women don't know. Oxytocin plays a completely different role for men in the bedroom. Research shows that when a man achieves his climax, he doesn't even get enough oxytocin to create a deep bond to you. The oxytocin he does release primarily serves to push out fluids. What he gets instead is a massive dopamine rush, the same neurotransmitter that's released during pleasurable activities like eating delicious food or winning at gambling. His experience then of the wrong kind of sex is a dopamine hit, like eating a great cheeseburger. You think he's falling for you, but in his mind, he's just had a great meal. He won't feel any deep connection keeping him there. Now let's put this in perspective. The female orgasm makes her brain say, I love this man so much. I want to be around him more. This helps if she gets pregnant because she's likely to stick with him, especially if he gives her multiple orgasms. The male orgasm without proper bonding makes his brain say, wow, that was a delicious hamburger. I'll come back here again when I'm hungry tomorrow. I call this the hamburger effect. You feel like he's your soulmate, but he feels like you are his favorite hamburger. This is why men get what we call post-nut clarity. They don't feel closer to the woman. Sometimes they feel appalled that they chose someone beneath their standards to achieve satisfaction. You've also heard of the coyote ugly effect, where men metaphorically chew off their arm to escape, or how men seem to turn from werewolves back into humans after sex, wondering where they are and how they got there and how they got naked. Now, it's all about the dopamine rush and the release they get. This also explains why most men often want to sleep after sex while women usually want to cuddle and talk and share time together. Your oxytocin makes you crave that bonding time, but he just ate a huge, delicious hamburger, he's stuffed, and he's falling into a food coma. You might like being his favorite hamburger, and that can achieve some loyalty. Men will go to the same restaurant for 20 years and eat the same hamburger and complain if it ever changes, and they'll grieve if the restaurant closes. But that doesn't guarantee he'll be loyal to that burger joint. He certainly doesn't move in and live at that burger joint. He visits it occasionally when he's got a fixing for it. He might cruise around other meals later. He might go to a Mexican restaurant or an Italian restaurant instead and say, this was fun too. Or he might just not come back if he finds something more delicious. This is what most women get wrong about male bonding. And that's why sex does not guarantee that a man will connect with you in a way that a woman often connects to him. So if you're feeling defeated right now, I don't want you to give in to that feeling. Do not despair. Hold on for a little longer, because men are not unfeeling monsters. This is a man telling you this, who's been happily married for 16 years with 5 beautiful children in a wonderful marriage, okay? Men are not unfeeling monsters, and we can bond in the bedroom. Men just have different balances of different brain hormones and receptors. And some men will be more sensitive to oxytocin bonding than others, especially if certain conditions are met. So let's talk about how you can go from being his favorite hamburger to the love of his life with just one sexual connection. Do you remember that other hormone I mentioned, vasopressin? This is the bonding hormone released during times of stress and when you solve challenges together. It's 2 people achieving a goal together and surviving as a team, so their brains encourage them to link up from then on. Think of a man and his wife protecting their family from attackers. Think of 2 buddy cops in a movie becoming closer while taking down a crime syndicate. Think of army friends forging a bond for life by surviving and achieving missions against their shared enemy. And then when they're 95 years old, they get wheeled up on stage and they greet each other and they hug and they cry. Think of a husband and wife supporting each other through their child's cancer treatments. This is vasopressin bonding. Vasopressin makes your brain say, this person was my ally when times were hard and when I felt stressed. They helped me fix it. We did it together. I want them around all the time. Here's the really important part. Men have significantly more vasopressin receptors by nature in their brains than women do. Men are built to solve problems and achieve goals. We're goal-oriented by nature. We have to be achieving goals to really bond. Women neglect this side because they want to make men's life easier without placing any requests or burdens on him, or because some women are not comfortable sharing their needs at all. That leaves most men almost no way to bond. You are a drive-through that happens to serve hamburgers. He throws in a couple bucks, he gets a burger, he drives off happy. That's most women. Hey, come in, give me a hug, we'll have sex, then you leave. Emotionally. Even if you live together, this is still the experience. Men need vasopressin bonding first, and then that drives them to invest emotionally, which opens the door for oxytocin bonding. It's not that men don't oxytocin bond. You must vasopressin bond with them first, and then immerse them into a specific type of oxytocin bonding. The research shows definitively that vasopressin makes men more protective of their mate and their family, and more affectionate, even with their children. If you want his affection to increase, you need to raise his vasopressin levels, which will likely increase his oxytocin desire too. Now, when his oxytocin goes up, his affection really goes up through the roof. If you want that affection with you and your children, and you want men bonded to you quickly, you need to know how to make vasopressin happen. If you don't trigger his vasopressin, he might enjoy the sex, but he won't feel emotionally attached. I want to take a moment to invite you to my attachment immersion retreat, the first week of May up in Vail, Colorado, where I'm going to be training and teaching and then practicing attachment skills, relationship skills, and all the communication skills you need to build an incredible relationship. If you want to learn more about this and join me, please check out my website, adamlanesmith.com. There's a retreat link right on there. Okay. Now that you're up to speed on the science, I'm going to give you 3 powerful methods that will transform how you connect with a man, both in and out of the bedroom. Method number 1, the goal-setting connection. Now, releasing vasopressin is very simple. You find goals that the two of you can accomplish together as a team. Inside the bedroom, one of the best ways to do this, ladies, is to be far more open with your sexual needs. Now, if you get to the bed and you turn into an all-pleasing sex doll who has 0 needs and just wants him to feel good, you are not encouraging him to bond with you. A lot of women get to the bed and they say, this is his time to feel good. I want him to feel amazing. I'm going to sit here and I'll move how he tells me to move. I will not move if he doesn't tell me to. I will hold still. I will let him do what he wants, and I will have no needs or desires whatsoever. I will simply receive. The goal is to make him happy. Unfortunately, I'm sorry that I have to be very crude, what you're doing is encouraging him to use your body to masturbate. That creates the Hamburger effect. Tons of dopamine for him, but little to no bonding. He could have that experience with anyone. He could have that experience by himself. You just happen to be in the room. Many women say, it's almost like he forgets I'm even in the room. Well, yes, biochemically, he actually is forgetting that you're in the room because it's just his body having a quick experience. When women do this, many men actually do forget that you're in the room because they're just trying to get to the finish line. But to bond with him, you need to get your pleasure too. While you think you are being a great partner by being passive and accommodating, and I know it comes from a place of love and care and giving, you're actually losing him right at the start, and you're not giving him what he actually needs. Some men might have wanted to bond with you in the past even, but you actually shut it down without realizing it by not being forthright about your needs. Some women are watching this right now saying, Adam, men don't care if the woman has an orgasm. Adam, men don't really care if she's having a good time. And I'll be very blunt with you. Most men do care a great deal. That's why so much effort is put into faking it. Most men actually care about the woman they're with, especially if they're a good, decent man with any level of morals or empathy or human kindness whatsoever. And the research shows that the people who don't, it's about 20% of men and women who are not capable of that connection. So about 80% of men are very likely to want to make sure you're having a good experience too. Now, they may not be vocal about it. They might be a little more selfish at times, but if he really cares about you, he truly cares about your joy and pleasure too. And you shutting that down completely could actually be a turnoff to him. Instead of just trying to make him happy, do this, okay? Let's try this. Find a few things that help you achieve your arousal and your orgasm. It doesn't have to be just orgasm, but arousal and orgasm. I call this the help me get there protocol. Help me get there. That's all you have to say. Help me get there. Okay, how do I do that? That activates his problem-solving brain. Help me get there. Hey, baby, help me get there. Okay, yes, ma'am. What do we do, right? Do I wave the flag? Like, where am I? What am I doing, right? Find a few things that help you achieve arousal, maintain arousal, and achieve orgasm. Keep a close eye on how far along you are in that process. Verbalize this out loud. Actually, verbalize out loud how close you are and what you're looking for. Hey, can you do this? A little more to the left, right? Stand in the bucket of potato salad. That turns me on. Whatever it is, right? That's a joke, but whatever it is, everybody has their thing. Maybe it's a kiss on the neck. Maybe it's more kisses. A lot of women are afraid to ask for more kisses. So they're like, well, I guess the kissing is done. All right, well, that was probably it for me. I'll be here till the job is done. Now, more kisses. Ask for that. Okay? Ask for things. Hey, help me get there. More kisses, right? Help me get there. More kisses. 6 words. Verbalize how close you are. Actually, that's like a progress meter. Have you ever seen men play a video game? Like they get a progress meter and they're like watching it obsessively and they watch it fill up and it goes. And what happens? Like at the end, there's a big pleasurable noise, a ding, or in this case, a different pleasurable noise you will make. You can ding if you choose, but whatever noise you make that helps him understand he's hit that target and he's now leveled up, right? It actually gives him a surge of testosterone in that moment. This is why in all the adult videos and etc., they're faking it so intensely. Huge surge of validation, testosterone, dopamine, and yes, if you've been working with him, vasopressin. Don't just give. Be happy to receive. Understand that giving him that verbal feedback actually probably is a turn on for him so that he can nudge you in the proper direction. And I want to be very clear on this. A lot of women are afraid to do this and they think men won't receive it well. A man who actually likes you will want to help you achieve your orgasm. If he doesn't care about your pleasure, you have a much deeper problem, and you need to figure that out immediately by testing it like this. But most men are happy to help you get there. Okay? Men love helping you get there if they care about you at all. Even if they only care about you a little, they still love it because it validates their skill, their achievement, and they did it together with your feedback. You're the navigator, he's the driver. Make sense? That's how the men are going to think about it, but you're still right there helping him navigate. Don't fake it. Don't ever fake it, please. This is encouragement. Please don't ever fake it, because if you do, you're missing a huge bonding opportunity for you, and you're lying to him. Don't do that, right? If it's tough getting there, verbalize that. Talk about that. Hey, this just isn't doing it for me. I'm really sorry. Could we try something else? Sure. It should be an experience. It should be joyful. Oh, hey, I'm sorry. This isn't quite the sex I'm looking for. Could we experiment with some additional types of sex? Well, fine, I suppose, if we must. No, like, hey, you know what? This isn't quite doing it. Maybe let's try a couple other things. Are you up for some playing? Are you up for doing fun stuff and trying a few things? Yeah. That's usually how that conversation goes. Okay? Do use words like more, deeper, faster. Yes, like that. You don't have to say, yes, good sir, please continue. Although, again, you could. Or keep going, and so on. More kisses, right? You don't need a master's degree in dirty talk to make this work. Ladies, please you don't have to mine adult videos for things they're saying. You don't have to go out and get an acting degree. Just use a couple words. Look on ChatGPT. ChatGPT, what are 15 phrases I could give my partner during intercourse to help nudge them in the proper direction to help me achieve greater pleasure? ChatGPT is like, well, that's kind of weird, but here you go, right? And it prints you out a list. Just simple words, okay? It gives just a bit of direction. Guide him, navigate him. That's what men are looking for, ladies. That interactive piece of how to get there. Am I close? Hot and cold? Right? Warm, cold, warm, cold, warm, 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 very warm. Okay, there you are, right? Like play that game with him. Did you play that game as a child, warm and cold? Play that game with him during sex. That's, again, game playing, fun. Vasopressin. Some men really want to give you multiple orgasms. Now, why do they care so much about this seemingly arbitrary number? Right? It's because a target goal they want to achieve together with you brings vasopressin bonding. They're like, I bet we can get to 50 tonight. And you're like, no, please, that will kill me. Most women don't understand when men say things like, you're going to get 20 of them tonight. And they respond like, why? Why would we do that? This is precisely the man asking for a vasopressin bond experience. Most women feel like it's pointless and arbitrary. Most women will say, well, I mean, if we get there, we get there. If I do, I do. If I don't, well, okay. And the pressure is not on you to perform, but work with your partner to enjoy this. The next time that a guy says, hey, you there yet? How can I help you? Hey, I'm going to give you 10 tonight. Don't say, please, no. I want to walk tomorrow. Say, okay, I really want 5 big ones. That's it for me. Here's how we can do that. Here's a couple things. Like, this would be great. Then work together, navigate him to make it happen. Afterward, once you achieve that number, or your number, his number, whatever, high five weekly and tell him, well done, we did it, right? Well done, old chap. Something that shows you accomplished it together as a team. You got me there, baby, right? Something like that, right? This is the get me there. Help me get there. You got me there. Cement that vasopressin and high five by celebrating the win together. This turns sex from here, use my body, then hopefully love me, into let's bond together so you stay with me forever. Now, the TLDR version of this is men bond through problem solving and solving challenges and achieving goals, especially in the bedroom. Most women make sex way too easy and selfless, trying to please him without asking for anything in return. That's a mistake. Fix it by, instead of just letting it happen, set a shared goal, tell him what you want, and make him work with you to achieve it. Help me get there. Be clear about your pleasure. He needs to actively help you get there. This is a responsibility that the partner has to make sure you're fulfilled. This is an actual legitimate human responsibility, one human to another. It's not every man and woman for themselves in a free-for-all, okay? If he's just doing his thing without engaging you, he's in dopamine mode, not bonding mode. And if he cares about your pleasure, he's worth keeping. If he doesn't, you've just dodged a bullet. So use the help me get there method and drop a comment below. Let me know how it goes. I bet you like it. Method number 2 for bonding your man incredibly during sex: the drunk octopus technique. Your lack of physical engagement is killing his oxytocin production. Most women freeze during sex, arms at their sides, legs up in the air, and they're thinking, carry on, sir. Most anxious women think, he'll move me however he wants me. I don't want to interrupt him. I don't want to disrupt him. Maybe I'll do the wrong thing. He probably saw this in a video and wants to recreate the experience. I'll just wait. But most men are not releasing oxytocin during sex because she's not touching him. She's not grabbing handfuls of his hair, scratching his back, rubbing his arms or his shoulders, using her legs to embrace him. She's just flopped there, passive, waiting to be moved around like a doll. This is where the drunk octopus technique comes in. I call it that because you should look like a drunk octopus searching for her car keys, using all of your limbs actively. Now, very quick, I'm going to tell you how to implement it. But first, when I said at the beginning that most men are not bonding through oxytocin during sex, I didn't mean that men can't. I meant that most women are not doing the things that would bond him. Direct contact only during intercourse with your lower part is not enough to stimulate his body and produce oxytocin. His entire body is a reception of sensors. It's a cluster of everything he needs to feel stimulated and touched. If you and he are only connecting one point on your lower half and there's no other physical contact, he will not be generating oxytocin appropriately. Women are too accommodating, they're too pleasure inviting, and they're too passive. That's why he's not oxytocin bonding. Not because he can't, but because you're not stimulating it properly. You're only stimulating the wrong part. Here's how to implement proper oxytocin bonding. Number 1, use your hands a lot more. Drunk octopus style. Use your hands to touch his head, touch his face, touch his scalp. I don't mean like grab his cheeks and squish him and say, aren't you adorable? I mean like rub your hand on the side of his face, cup the back of his head or his ear, pull him in. If you want more kisses, pull on his head and pull him down to you for a kiss. Grab his hair on either side of his ears and pull him down for a kiss. Scratch his scalp. Scratch his back. Men usually go crazy for this. You don't have to make him look like he was just mauled to death by a tiger, but if you want to be a vengeful tiger who leaves her mark, by all means, test it out and see if he replies. Most men find that immensely pleasurable. Often during the act of sex, our pleasure receptors also incorporate pain. Pain receptors turn into pleasure receptors because it's all massive stimulation. So again, maybe don't go too hardcore with your hard nails from the salon, but do scratch and see if he likes it. You can even ask him that. Grip his shoulders for leverage. Wrap your legs around him and pull him in, or just crush him slowly to death in a vice grip. He probably will love it. A lot of women just let their lower half just go and they're just hanging there, but you have calves and thighs, even feet. Use these parts to rub on his body. With your calf, rub along his thigh or his back. Rub and stimulate. Rubbing and friction, especially skin-to-skin contact, is huge for oxytocin release. We are born primed and seeking human body warmth on our body. And then we release overwhelming waves of oxytocin, but not through one point on our lower half, across our whole body, and especially the friction of rubbing. Avoidant men, in particular, respond powerfully when a woman rubs her calves against his thighs and his legs. This makes sex very active and stimulating for him. He enjoys it immensely, and it releases oxytocin flooding through his system in ways that intercourse alone won't do for him. It's the full physical contact that matters. Remember, non-sexual touch is an avoidant man's love language, so touching his entire body through sex is really going to help. The worst thing a woman can do is be passive and accommodating and only have one point of contact, lower body to lower body. And that's it. So if you're just sitting there waiting for it to be done, it's like, well, he'll move me when he's ready. No, the best thing you can do is be a drunk octopus who's searching for your car keys. They are somewhere on his body. You must find your keys. You have to search everywhere to discover them, and you will find them, and you're going to go everywhere. This is how you release oxytocin in a man during sex. It's not his orgasm that does it. That's going to happen, right? Men can actually do that in their sleep. Men can do that alone in a room. He's doing this with you and having an experience with you. It's not that physical stimulation and orgasm and release. It's the physical contact during the experience that makes the difference of being with a live human partner. And that's honestly what makes it different from him watching a video somewhere. It's all the richness and the experience of being with you that he can't get anywhere else. And ladies, this is going to release so much oxytocin in you. Imagine you do this and he goes nuts and he is so into you. And the kissing goes 5 times more. And he's rubbing back and he's saying your name and he's saying, I love you, as it floods him with affection. And now he is so into you during the action. You're not just trying to make him happy. Your brain goes crazy and you're drunk on it. The research is very clear that at any given time, only about 25% of women are able to achieve orgasm purely through vaginal stimulation. Now, I believe a massive part of this, and I've worked with a lot of sex experts and talked with them about this, the biggest thing I think is happening is women are not achieving enough oxytocin through foreplay and then during the experience. It's men sitting there hovering over you, going to town with one point of contact between you and forgetting you're in the room. And then those women are too quiet to say anything. So of course you're not going to achieve orgasm that way. Of course you're not going to be fulfilled. Connect with him, bond with him, share with him, touch, play, roll, laugh, be a drunk octopus. This is how both of you will have an amazing experience. He probably will do it right back. And this is how you differentiate between you and anyone else on the planet or any other experience he could have. Now it's not, I had a pretty good hamburger. I think I'll go for Mexican food tomorrow or Chinese food. Now it's, no, man, I want one thing and only that place serves it. And I am going to move in there. In fact, I'm going to buy that restaurant. I'm going to live there for the rest of my life because I will never eat anything else. This is how you get that effect. Too long, TLDR version here. Most women stay too passive during sex. They think men want a low maintenance experience. In reality, men crave physical engagement. They just won't tell you. And probably they've never experienced it. They're waiting for it, but nobody does it. He's used to being alone in a room with a screen. So he gets here and you're just waiting and he just does it. Then you guys roll over awkwardly. Instead, use your whole body. Make love with your whole body so that he can make love back with his whole body. Arms, legs, hands, feet, face, hair, back, everything. Touch him, scratch him, rub your hands through his hair, wrap your legs around him, squeeze him like you're never going to let him go. Okay? Crack him like a walnut with your thighs. Do those things. You are more than reproductive organs, and so is he. Remember that during sex, your entire body becomes a reproductive machine full of overloaded sensors and flooded blood cells and everything going through your body. Your whole skin becomes so so sensitive, including to pleasure and pain, which becomes the same thing. The more physical engagement, the more oxytocin releases for both of you, especially if you've done the vasopressin bonding as well, especially if this isn't your first time having sex, it's like your 50th or 100th or whatever, and you've done the vasopressin bonding and this over and over and over and over. This right here prevents that ghosting behavior by making the experience so much more than a dopamine hit. Men associate high-touch intimacy with really deep connection. When you're fully engaged, he experiences something he can't get from any woman except you. And now he craves it forever. Now, fair warning, when you're doing the vasopressin bonding at the beginning, you're going to have multiple orgasms, almost certainly. And number two, when you're doing this physical piece, he's probably not going to last as long as he might otherwise, because it's going to be so stimulating for him. Now, men, as they get more oxytocin, it actually increases the force of their orgasm. So the oxytocin drives a harder orgasm and contracts much harder. He is probably going to be dead and exhausted more so than usual afterward. Most women at this point, he rolls over and goes to sleep because he's so tired. Use that to your advantage. You want to bond more. After sex, most avoidant men especially will try to leap out of bed, put their clothes on, and metaphorically dive out the window to escape. They don't really know what else to do. Most men don't do much afterward. That leaves the woman feeling used and disconnected. She's physically done, okay, but now she's flooded with oxytocin. This is absolute prime bonding time for her. But for most couples, he hasn't had oxytocin because she was just kind of there. He had a sexual experience. She happened to be nearby. Okay, cool. Hey, thanks, lady. Now they're done, and he's thinking, nice cheeseburger. What's next? You don't hang out in the restaurant all day. You get up and you go and do your actual life, while she's wanting love, connection, hugs, cuddling. Here's where the sweaty bosom strategy comes in. A woman's chest radiates an immense amount of heat during and after sex. When heat touches the chest, it triggers a huge amount of oxytocin. And when a face touches a chest, especially, oxytocin is exploded out of both of you. That's what oxytocin is actually originally for, is lactation and breastfeeding. The primate experience of having head placed on a chest in a relaxed state instantly floods the person who's laying their head on and the person who's having their chest stimulated, floods both with oxytocin due to that association with breastfeeding. It's programmed into our very biology. So instead, ladies, of letting him just roll over and go to sleep or leave to grab a sandwich, instead, and also not flopping on his chest, which leaves him thinking, okay, well, that's nice, but what's my next task? His mind is buzzing. Pull him onto your chest. He will begin flooding with oxytocin again. This is called aftercare, by the way. The woman feels loved and connected and cared for. He's bonding appropriately with her because she's triggered the right hormone release. Pull him in and wrap him up. Just like bury his face in your boobs, right? Or just relax him. Even if you lay on your back and he lays on you and he can breathe, right? I mean, he doesn't have to suffocate to death, but what a way to go. As he's relaxing and bonding with you in this moment, he feels relaxed. He feels at peace. Actually, if he's sitting there on his back thinking, he's buzzing. But if he's actually vasopressin bonded with you at the beginning, overwhelmed with oxytocin stimulation during, had a 3 times harder orgasm than usual with you because of the oxytocin, and is now fully rested, his brain is empty. Like he's done. He's done. And you pull him onto your chest to rest, and all the pheromones that his nose is now drinking up, as humans can breathe them in and react to them, even if we don't smell them innately, as the warmth is there and the more oxytocin's flowing. Ladies, the amount of bonding, he will begin flooding with it. You will begin flooding with it. You're bonding together. And this triggers an overwhelming flood of, I want to stay here forever. Okay? When he's that close, he can smell your pheromones. They release into his brain and flood him, making him drunk on you as he's physically close. And this is probably, by the way, going to get you into round 2 pretty quickly. I don't know if you've noticed, but guys tend to like bosoms. And having this in the bed right after quite often leads to another experience. Starting that whole bonding process all over again. All right? Get me there, sailor. Where are we going? All right. And then the octopus again. And then more sweaty bosom. And then round 3, right? Make sure you're hydrating with a fancy sports drink because eventually the loop needs to end. Okay, so take care of yourselves. Do these 3 things. The TLDR version here, most men get up and leave after sex, or they mentally check out, usually because the sex wasn't stimulating and bonding enough to them anyway. Number 2, why? Because their dopamine hit is over. Their brain isn't naturally wired to bond afterward, especially modern men. They're activated and they're more conditioned to just turn off the screen or wipe their history or get up and leave. You have to activate that and train them into it. How? You make him stay put. And what makes men stay put? Like boobs. Very little. Turns out the research is pretty clear on that. Sex sells. So engage him. Keep him. After sex, don't let him roll over and leave immediately. Pull his head onto your chest. Hold him there. This triggers massive oxytocin flood, the same way that babies bond with mothers during infancy. It won't be a mother-baby bond. Don't worry about that. But it's programmed into both of you anyway. It'll be an adult version of that. Men usually don't get oxytocin in big bursts, except in moments of deep physical closeness anyway. So you can be the one human on the planet that gives him that intimate, deep connection. This rewires his brain to associate safety and connection and peace with you. And it transforms the sexual experience into something deeper. So he wants to stay home and connect emotionally. Instead of, I'm going to go to that restaurant, eat a cheeseburger and leave, it's, I'm going to go home. Ladies, you don't want to be his cheeseburger. You want to be his home. These 3 things is how you welcome him home and make yourself his home. Now, why the heck aren't women doing this already? Why aren't women doing this? I think a big part of the reason women aren't doing this is because they aren't properly bonded to an actual partner. They're trying to do this on the first day they've met a man or the first couple of weeks. That's just not appropriate. This is something to do with healthy partners that you actually trust. You need to be able to relax enough in his presence to feel safe and bonded. For this to work, she has to feel safe and trust this man. She has to feel fairly secure herself to be able to relax into the experience and share. She needs to know that he actually wants this from her and cares about her pleasure. And she needs to know what she needs sexually and feel comfortable communicating that directly with him. Now, I know, as I go through this video, as I go through these 3, it sounds like you're giving the man the time of his life at your expense, and you're going to be exhausted. Why am I doing this for some schmuck who doesn't care? But this is actually how to have the best experience of your life while giving him an amazing experience too. Cycling back to a phenomenally bonded relationship through oxytocin, vasopressin, serotonin, yes, dopamine, and everything else too. You should be doing this pretty much every time, whether it's the first time you're making love to a trusted, committed partner, or you've had sex and you're in year 20 of your marriage. This is the correct way to make love if you want to grow and maintain a relationship for a lifetime experience. This is the difference between sex and lovemaking. They call it lovemaking because through this combination of experiences, you're making more love into the relationship. It's a unitive experience. It unites you by having it together. Unitive love, unitive sex makes more love. Lovemaking. Did you know that's where that comes from? You should be lovemaking with a trusted partner. Sex should actually grow your connection. It should be a culmination of your connection, but it should also grow and enhance your connection in an endless, perpetual loop. So if you have struggled with men pulling away after intimacy, you are not the problem. Your strategy is, your sex experience is. Start using these 3 methods and watch how men begin responding differently to you. Instead of chasing them for connection, they'll start coming home to you. What a difference. Nobody's chasing anyone. He comes home to you. Remember that great sex isn't just about pleasure. Yeah, sex can be great, you guys. But have you ever made love? True great sex is about creating an unbreakable bond that keeps him coming back for more than just a hamburger. I would love to hear your thoughts and questions in the comments below. Has this video changed how you think about intimacy? Will you try these techniques? Will you make love with your partner? Now, for more personalized advice, make sure that you sign up for my email newsletter where I share exclusive tips and attachment information that I don't cover in my videos. I'm going to drop a link down in the description of this video so you can sign up for my email newsletter there. It's also on my website at adamlanesmith.com under the resources tab on attachment newsletter. Make sure you're getting this information into your relationship every day because I want you to have the best love of your life. I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist, and if this has been helpful, and I know it has, please make sure that you like, you comment, you subscribe, and you ring that little bell to turn on notifications so you don't miss any new videos. And I challenge you to watch this video with your partner and ask them if this would be fun. If they say yes, I bet they will, give it a shot and make some love. Talk to you next time.